Welcome to the Mama Making Podcast, a space for moms figuring it out in real time, at home, at work, and everywhere in between. Hosted by me, Jessica Lamb, this show is here to help you feel a little less alone in the mess and magic of motherhood. Each week brings a mix of solo reflections, expert interviews, and real stories from moms leaning into themselves, whether that's into parenting, into entrepreneurship, or just surviving the day. Because there's no one way to do motherhood, and you don't have to do it alone. If that sounds like your kind of vibe, make sure to follow the show, share it with a friend, and keep showing up, exactly as you are. This episode of the Mama Making Podcast is sponsored by Collabs Creative. If you're a mom building a business and trying to do it without a roadmap, you're so not alone. That's exactly why I started Collabs Creative, to help founders like you tell your story, grow your brand, and actually connect with the people you're meant to serve. From social media strategy to full-on content creation, we do grassroots marketing that feels real, because it is. If you're ready to stop throwing things at the wall to see what sticks and start showing up like the founder you already are, head to collabscreative.com and let's start building something good. Now let's get on to the episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mama Making Podcast. I'm your host, Jessica. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, then welcome back. Today, I am so thrilled to have Holly Buckendahl on the podcast. Holly is the CEO of the Ronald McDonald House charities, Chicagoland in Northwest Indiana. Welcome, Holly, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit more about you, where you're from, whatever you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I always start with I am the mother of wife and a mother of two grown daughters. I say grown because we are empty nesters for the first time. So I've got two kids in college. Really enjoying our time here in the Chicagoland area. We've been here 10 years and we moved here from Kansas City where we lived for 21 years. So as you said, I'm a not-for-profit professional my entire career, but in the healthcare space, children and families. And I really have had the true honor and privilege of really sitting in the seat as a leader of RMHC in two different markets over the last 17 years. So it is, I always tell people, it is really a lifestyle of a mission that I get to work for. It just doesn't feel like a job. It just is, I get to meet wonderful people and have deep impact on families and really advocate in ways that I could have never imagined.
Yeah, I've talked a little bit on the podcast about having a fundraising nonprofit background myself, and it truly doesn't feel like a job. You get to see the impact you're making directly from the work that you do every day, and then working with families is a whole other ballgame, I'm sure.
Yeah, it is. You know, I'm actually a social worker by background, and I never thought that I would be in the space of doing, bringing my social work talents and education to light, coupled with raising money and awareness, for a mission that I care deeply about. And so it's funny that I remember both of my roles in the roles that I've had between two markets, I have known my predecessors well. And so I remember my first one in Kansas City, I remember we were colleagues and friends. I'm like, oh my gosh, you have the best job and career ever. I want that job someday. And then I was able to get it. And then Chicago, I knew my predecessor here and I said, Chicago, that sounds like an interesting market to come to, and I get to keep doing what I do. But yeah, it's an interesting blend of work, right, of what I do on a daily basis, and there's never a dull moment, and it's incredibly impactful.
That's the perfect segue to get into the nitty-gritty of the Ronald McDonald House charities. I know most people know, if you've been through a McDonald's drive-thru, you see the little change deposit. Tell us, who is Ronald McDonald House? What do you guys do, and who do you serve?
Yeah, I mean, we are here to help support sick children and their families through really turbulent times. And we are with them 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days. And so what that means in the Chicagoland area, we have 6 Ronald McDonald houses, 4 family rooms inside hospitals. And then we also have 2 mobile medical units in partnership with Advocate Children's Hospital, where we provide access to pediatric care for children attending the Chicago Police School System. So we are working in that prevention access modality, as well as then keeping families close to their hospitalized child or children on a daily basis. And so from a Ronald McDonald House perspective and our family rooms, we keep 181 families close to their child every single night. And as you know, we have wonderful healthcare systems, pediatric healthcare systems here in Chicagoland with 4 pediatric hospitals and a couple of others that we're partnered with that have large scale neonatal intensive care units and ways that we can support those families. So I always say it knows no boundaries or demographics about who can be impacted by childhood illness so unexpectedly. And it could maybe be a short journey, but it could also be a very, very long journey. And we want to be here for families for every moment of it.
So tell me a little bit how the services vary between a hospital setting versus the family rooms in the hospitals, a Ronald
Yeah.
McDonald Center, the mobile units. What do the services look like in each one?
Yeah, well, our houses are just like your houses. Just we do it on a much larger scale, right? You will find every amenity in our Ronald McDonald House that you have in your own home: a place to sleep, do your laundry, eat a meal in our kitchen, prepare a meal for yourself if you want to. Now, we may have some extra little spaces like a library and maybe a little office center for parents that need to work while they're staying with us. We have playrooms, we have large living rooms, we have musical instruments, we have playgrounds and rooftops. And so all of those things that you would experience in your own home with your house and your yards and your community, quite frankly, your neighbors that are definitely engaged in helping deliver what we do. So we just, from a 12,000 square foot house all the way up to 120,000 square foot house. They're just large scale in that way. Now, our family rooms, sometimes people aren't as familiar with. So family rooms are these, what I would call mini programs inside hospitals that are near the intensive care units. And so our family rooms may have anywhere from 2 bedrooms to 9 bedrooms inside the hospital. And so it's just a little bit more condensed space. There'll be kitchenettes in there. We'll bring meals in that space. There'll be some family gathering spaces. And in some of our locations, play spaces for kids. And for other support systems to help visit and support families. So those locations we often find are very helpful for families that really feel like they cannot leave the hospital in those particular days and moments. And so just being, 2 blocks away or across the street is too far given on what their child might be going through. So this allows those in-hospital programs for them just to step away just down the hall and not be too far where nurses and doctors can get right to them. So I love how we're able to offer those two environments to support families with still the bold same sort of mission service delivery in both locations. And then you asked about our mobile medical units. And again, in partnership with a great, children's hospital here in town, we really are doing mostly immunizations and early health screenings and detections. So immunizations are important in the Chicago public school system at this point of keeping kids in school and make sure that they have access. So we do all of that work to make sure that happens. But we do find a lot of chronic illnesses and diagnoses while we're screening children from asthma to diabetes to other things that we can help with and then get them connected to a care provider that then, long term will hopefully help their outcomes. So those are our priority areas when it comes to the care mobile services that we offer. And we're really part of a larger network of Chicagoland care mobiles. So we want to make sure that we're not duplicating services that others are doing, but we're complementing them. That really is an important factor about how we play in that space.
Yeah, and that brings me to my next question. What is your service area and what hospital networks are you connected with?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Ronald McDonald House charities around the world, we're in 62 countries around the world, are all divided up into marketing regions. So this goes into kind of the bit of how we partner with our McDonald's, forever founding mission partner McDonald's and that system. So we are Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana from a marketing district area. So that means that in proximity that's kind of our market area, but that does not mean that we don't serve families from all over the world. So all that does is really define the McDonald's owner operators that are assigned to our Ronald McDonald House region to support us. So you had mentioned you visit the McDonald's, you drop the change or you round up. So in the Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana area, we have just over 450 restaurants and around 90 McDonald owner operators that support us through their customers through those locations. So that's really kind of the one segment of kind of our catchment area, so to speak. But really when I mentioned we serve families from all over the world, usually almost every state We will see families from majority are going to be Illinois and Indiana, but we draw from everywhere and we draw from other countries too. And that speaks to kind of your next question also about the hospital partners that we're connected to. So we are healthcare adjacent. We're here to support them and the families so that we can help them make sure that families remain close to the care and the treatment that they need. So that means that we might have families that are traveling here from anywhere in the United States around the world to receive some of the best medical care that they can get access to. So it might be a particular doctor, a certain unit. It could be a research study that brings people to Chicago for some of their pediatric care. So, as we think of some of those main players with Lurie Children's, Advocate Children's Hospital, Comer Children's Hospital, Loyola Children's Hospital, all as really anchors to some of those services that are drawing people in from around the world. And we also serve Shriners and some of the other hospitals like Rush that are having folks that are staying with them too, as well as Northwestern Prentice Women's Hospital. So just some examples. I hope I'm not forgetting
Yeah.
anybody. Edward Hospital also in there. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Chicago is an incredible hub for all things medical. So I imagine people are coming from everywhere to whether, like you said, whether it's a doctor or a specific procedure. And I think that fail safe of having you guys in most of our major hospitals in some capacity is so
Yeah.
incredible to be able to kind of spread that wealth throughout
Yeah.
all of our medical communities, wherever they're kind of branched out in our community.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And we're full most of the time too. I mean, our census really across all of our family rooms in our houses remain pretty high. Sometimes even downtown in particular right now in the city area, we're struggling with waiting lists of families that really need our services. And so, we'll have to tackle that in the new future about how we think about that.
Yeah. So tell me, how can families qualify to be a Ronald McDonald House family?
Yeah. Well, we partner really closely with the hospital social workers and nurses about making referrals to us and then getting families, in the house the same day or on a waiting list to get in. So really the only qualifications is that you have a need, that you need to stay close to your child. And then there's some triaging around, distance away, focus on some of the most critical care units. And so we really want to help as many people as we can. But if I were just to throw out a few kind of ways that we look at triaging people, it really is about distance, and some of those, what's kind of happening critically with the family at the time. Our average length of stay for families, depending on a Ronald McDonald House, can be anywhere from 12 days to 29 days right now. We have families that will stay much longer than that will stay months and maybe close to a year, depending on what it is they have going on. And we will have families that we will see throughout the course of their pediatric journey with their child. So, there's a percentage that will spend a lifetime through surgeries and treatment regimens to keep them, on their next step to recovery of whatever it is they're going through. So it's a journey. And I have seen kids throughout my career, knowing them as young kids and then graduate from high school. So it's really interesting to get pictures sometimes and notes, that remind, me of the wonderful support that we were a part of the fabric of families' lives as their kids get older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a family staying, whether it's for 5 days or 5 months, what can a family expect from a stay at one of the Ronald McDonald houses?
Yeah. I mean, they can expect to be able to come and go as they need to. I always say at our home, our house is your house. You can expect a home cooked meal at least once a day, twice a day, in some of our locations. You can expect grab and go food always being available. You can do your laundry. You could have a sense of community, quite frankly, inside of our Ronald McDonald houses. You'll get to know other people that are experiencing the same thing that you are. I mean, I hear parents all the time talking about what's going on for their kid and sharing experiences, similar diagnoses, or different things. You'll see siblings inside of our Ronald McDonald houses, especially in the summer months when they're out of school. So when you think about the family unit coming together during these times, we have that you can expect to see that. You will also, you will see incredibly difficult moments, and you will see some celebratory moments. You'll see birthdays and other things that are happening. You should expect a warm and inviting staff there to greet you and help reduce the burden that child-held illness can bring. You will see grateful and very helpful volunteers to be in there to help families along the journey. You'll see families that eventually come back to volunteer that once stayed with us. You'll see people in the kitchen making home cooked meals. There's just everything that you can really imagine again in your own home, and how you have family and relatives and neighbors that are part of your community. You'll find that inside of a Ronald McDonald House.
Yeah. Yeah, just from the stay that we had, I haven't talked much about our
Yeah.
stay on the podcast. But I think even down, you guys have truly thought of everything down to our son stayed at Prentice in the NICU. We had I think an 8 to 10 day stay. And one of the things I didn't even consider was getting to and from the hospital to the Ronald McDonald House. And we were able to use a Ronald McDonald House Uber. We would just call the Uber,
Yeah.
give them 5 minutes, and they would bring us right to the Ronald McDonald House after hours.
Yep.
And there was a transport bus consistently. And it was something that wouldn't even have crossed my mind as like we need to have some kind of transportation.
Yeah.
So I think things
Yeah.
like that, or the kitchen being it's not just a kitchenette, it's a full service kitchen. We stayed in the house on Lurie's. So one side it's a family kitchen, and on the other side it's like a chef's kitchen. So if you
Yeah.
wanted to, it looks like a restaurant. If you wanted to go sit down, have your meal, if you wanted to go and make your own meal. I distinctly
Yeah.
remember we came back for a dinner, and there was a huge family that had a few visitors that were making like a traditional family meal. They were all in the kitchen, like joking and laughing and smiling. And I think during a
Yeah.
time that can be so unsure and so scary, frankly, I think being
Yeah.
able to see other families experiencing so much joy is like so inspiring, to be able to be like, okay, there's happy moments in some of the tough moments as well.
Yeah. I mean, even I would think I think people enjoy being in the kitchen sometimes just to do something for themselves.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon to see, a kid sitting up, right next to the bar in the kitchen with a parent or a grandparent, making cookies or something, that can take a moment away from, kind of what's going on, just something you would do in your own home. Oh, and that's a
Yeah.
nice break. I want to make sure that we source a lot of great food for families, and that we meet nutritional needs too. If you're diabetic or you have
Mhm.
gluten-free sorts of needs, that our chefs and team really try to make sure that we have culturally different foods and things that,
Mhm.
will fit many sorts of customs or dietary needs. So yeah, it's important, right? I mean, it matters.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can
Yeah.
definitely attest to it. I was a newly postpartum mom that was not staying in a hospital, and so the
Yeah.
Ronald McDonald House was like my recovery space. So being able to count on at least 2 meals a day that I knew were gonna
Uh-huh.
be healthy and nutritious to kind of help my body recover and help me start to
Yeah.
nurse my baby was something that
Yeah.
I didn't expect, but wound up being so grateful for, to have to like don't even have to check it off my list. It's just going to be there. And I think
Yeah.
that a
Yeah.
lot of the services that you all offer do that for families.
Uh-huh.
It's the
Uh-huh.
mental load of having a sick child. I think most people don't understand. Hopefully, less and less people start to
Yeah.
understand. But I
Yeah.
think there's a mental
Yeah.
load that people don't know about. And I think the
Uh-huh.
services that you guys offer that are complimentary, you're not paying for them, are included in your stay, if you will,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think is such a testament to you all looking at the family as a whole and what is needed for the family, and not just the sick child, or
Yeah.
it's just such a
Yeah.
holistic view of the experience, which I think is so important.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because it's really that family-centered care environment that we are really focused on. You have to really focus on the whole family unit and what people need, and how do we help empower parents too, in the journey that they're on. So that, keeping them at the center of the focus and the care is just really important. And everything that we have built and created within these environments of the families and the houses have all come from family feedback, and insights as to what is the most useful thing, and many things, during those times. And so that's the only way we really build what we do, is through the direct family experience. Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to hear more stories that have just kind of stuck with you throughout the last 10 years, whether it's
Yeah.
a story that like deeply emotionally stuck with you or a funny story. What comes to mind when you're asked that question?
My gosh. Well, I'm a rule breaker. So this is where, I get in trouble sometimes. But I have had kids and I mean, I'm gonna go with the kids, families and the kids throughout my career that I've gotten to know through their medical journey. And I just love, allowing a little rule breaking to happen. So I've got, one story, I've got like many stories, but one that comes to my mind, this old guy Chase for me, I saw in my office, he would come back to the admin wing and I had like a navy blue recliner or something. He just marched back up there and sit back, flop his feet up in my recliner. And he was like, I think he was 7 at the time. And he just sat back and, and he had a rough go at it. And he would just say, he says, I need to understand more about what you do. I'm like, okay, tell me more, Chase, what you're after. He's like, I don't know. I think I might want to have your job someday. I think I could do your job. I mean, I see you walking around here. I see you in the kitchen talking to people. He said, I think I could do that. I'm like, I hope you can Chase,
Yeah.
be a leader or work inside of a Ronald McDonald House. He's like, I just love it here, and
Oh,
he's like, you guys are doing a good job. And he was so bubbly and energetic about a lot of things despite his oncology treatment he was going through. And then he'd plop down to the next office and this is where the rule breaking comes in. So I hear like this little machine thing going in there. And then he yells at me, he says, Holly, come here. So I go down in there and he's got a box and one of my other team members had a drill in her office. And she just pulled out a box and let him, he said, I want to learn how to work that drill. And we just let him drill holes, inside that box. And he thought it was the coolest thing ever. Now, many would say to me, I don't know, that might have been a little risky to let a kid handle a power tool at the age of 7.
it
But,
was supervised.
it was supervised and he, just wanted to he was so curious, right? And he was what I would call kind of the upside of the chemo, right? In the moment where he had lots of energy and things like that. It's like, whatever you want to do, sounds great, but so I think about those moments where the rule breaking, from doing that to sneaking a pet therapy dog into a hospital setting because we knew it would be helpful. I've done that before, so I just think that we have to have these moments with families and rules matter, but sometimes rules are meant to be broken. And I have a lot of memories of being that little instigator of just go ahead and do it. It's fine.
Yeah.
We aren't going to
Yeah.
tell anybody. So I don't know. My kids, if they were listening, like, oh yeah, that sounds like my mom,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just is what it is from,
Yeah.
I can go on and on, but I think that,
Yeah.
and like I go right back to Chase, who is no longer with us. And he had a short 10 years of his life. And we just helped him make every moment matter, where he spent a large chunk of that inside of a Ronald McDonald House. You see people and through times of laughter, really rough times, and then you just have to pick those special moments to can we just break the rules and does it really matter,
Yeah.
in the long run. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, one of the things that always stuck out to me while we were at the Ronald McDonald House, we didn't have our child with us. And so being able to see some of the kids who were there for treatment, but not only the kids for treatment, their siblings, being able to go and play together and have so much, like there was so much fun happening around the house that I'm
yeah,
sure for Chase's family, it was probably so
yeah,
great to know that he was experiencing such a fun and exciting
yeah,
environment in such a
yeah.
challenging time for them.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, I agree. You just have to make the most of the moments you're in the moment you're having them. And, no matter what the journey is, those moments matter and life can be too short sometimes. So we just want to make sure that we're really providing, all of those things that we possibly can when we have families staying with us. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we had an incredible experience at the Ronald McDonald House. We
Good.
always said we don't wish it on anybody to
Hmm.
have a stay, but it was
Yeah.
incredible. I'm
Yeah.
getting a little emotional,
Yeah.
but
And how is everything today with your
perfect.
little one?
Amazing.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
amazing. He's going to be 3. He is funny and happy and
Yeah.
so much energy, but we were so grateful for the time that we were able to have rest and recover, and seeing all these other families brought us so much more hope
Yeah.
about our own situation, and
Yeah.
just wanted to continue to be part of this incredible community of families who are in a not ideal situation, but so cared for.
Yeah. Yeah. It is really a big family, right? It
Yeah.
really is. The way people are
Yeah.
connected, how childhood illness and what happens kind of brings us together.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know when you entered that, because you would have been one of the very early families that stayed at that saw did the Prentice. Did you stay at
So
Prentice?
we Yes,
Was
so
it
we
done
had
yet?
just
Yeah.
no, we had just missed it. So they were in the middle of construction. We were so
Okay.
lucky to be able to they snuck us in this weird little side room. I think it was for, like, doctors and nurses who were
Yeah.
on call,
Yes.
but they
Yes.
allowed us to stay there before we could go to the
To the
house on
house.
Lurie's, but we were so close to being able to stay. But,
Yeah.
I was able to, like,
Yeah.
keep track, and I was so interested in seeing what it all looked like, and it is
Mhm.
truly like a tiny little piece of the Ronald McDonald House,
It
just, like,
is.
plopped into the NICU wing.
I love that description
Yeah.
because you're right. It's like a tiny house that, like,
Yes.
you see the
Yeah.
tiny houses on TV and stuff. Like, it's just tiny house just kind of plopped in there.
Yeah.
And it's such a great I mean, that takes really good, it's all about good partnership with our hospital
Yeah.
partner, because we know how important and expensive hospital space can be, about what it is too that they need, for clinical care areas inside the hospital. And so just to get something nestled right there in some locations at the hospital is just incredible, to be able to get that space just steps away. And then, as in your experience too, then at one point to then be comfortable to move further, a little bit further
Yeah.
away, but not much, into a house
Yeah.
situation. But it is just a slice of unbelievable space, and grateful that we can have that inside some of these hospital locations.
So tell me, who operates the houses and the, wings in the hospital? I know you guys have a vast and incredible team of volunteers. I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, listen, we could not do what we do every single day without an army of volunteers. And so when we think about across all of our locations, overall, we have about 120 staff, and we are 24/7, again, 7 days a week, 3 shifts, all of that. And then thousands upon thousands of volunteers are part of us. So I mean, they triple the size of what our staff really is on an annual basis. And that is the other thing that really drew me to this mission in the early days of my career. Was it is not complicated what we need and how we get help to do it. And so when you think about volunteers coming in every day, from helping us to greet families, check them in, we have handy men and women they will change the light bulbs and fix things. And people like to bake and cook, and people like to organize. I don't know about your house, but, like, I could use a closet organizer like
Yeah.
every 3 to 6 months.
Organizing is a gift.
Organizing is a gift. And we have the generosity of community that gives us items off of our wish list drives, and all the things we need, from toiletries to toys to, you know, uh, baking supplies. I could go on and on. And so all that comes in. We need volunteers, right, to help us sort and stock. And so I love that there is so many talents that we can put to work inside of our Ronald McDonald House. And so I think that we have very little restrictions about what it is that you can do to contribute. And I also love to see past families that are coming back when they're ready to perhaps do something, bringing their kids in to do some volunteer work and help others. And so it's a real strong sense of community between the staff and the volunteers. So and listen, our mission was founded on volunteers, and we have never, ever eliminated volunteers from the core of what we do. We are parent founded, and we were the second in the world, for viewers that don't know that. The first was in Philadelphia with Dr. Audrey Evans, started that Ronald McDonald House in partnership with the Philadelphia Eagles. and McDonald's, quite frankly, and a parent. And then we became number two when we heard in Chicago what they were doing. And parent founder oncologist McDonald's got together again and decided this is a thing and we're going to do this here. And then really Chicago became the one that kind of started kind of the movement, where our original founders, I know you didn't ask me about this, but our original
No, it's
founders helped
interesting.
really a parent founder, daughter, who was sick with cancer, went on the road with Dr. Baum, who was an oncologist at the time at Lurie Children's, and they consulted about 100 other locations to get Ronald McDonald houses in the first 9 years to help get them
Wow.
open. And then it kept moving from there. So again, the power of volunteerism. What need are we trying to solve and how do we make it happen? And they did that. They did
Yeah.
that. And we're blessed to still have two of our three founders with us today. Are in their
That's
90s,
amazing.
but they're still with
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, I think anybody who's ever been involved in nonprofit knows the impact of volunteers, and
Mm.
it truly keeps every nonprofit running to be able to have
It does.
such a core group of people who are dedicated to your mission, and
Yeah.
volunteers are incredible.
They are. Couldn't do it without them. And they really they're a piece again of the fabric of how we do and what we do, and that they're just culturally a part of it. And they bring
Yeah.
so much to the table. So call to action on that is if you have
Yes.
time and you can donate, bring your friends and family in a couple of times a year if that's what you could do, make a meal, do a special project. If you have time on your hands and you can volunteer 2 shifts a month, to work a certain shift, that's super helpful. So there's just all kinds of ways, that if folks look at our website, you can find ways to get involved.
Yeah, and we'll put the volunteer opportunities in our show notes so people can just
That's
click
great.
the link
Yeah.
and figure out where and when they can volunteer. What other ways can people get involved with whether it's the Ronald McDonald houses in Chicago or Northern Indiana or in their own state?
Yeah. So first of all, I always say it's always good to go to a website and find out what it is that, that you can do at a Ronald McDonald House. So, in a good way, if you're trying to find in your state, sometimes is to go to the main Ronald McDonald House website, rmhc.org, which is easy for people to remember. Actually, it'll be rmh.org soon. And then, you can find a location nearest you, and then it'll take you directly to the website of those locations and you can get involved. But I also think that, it's many people know people who have actually experienced a Ronald McDonald House. I mean, it's amazing to me when you're like, oh yeah, I know somebody, and sometimes just to remember to tell people by word of mouth, you should really get involved. Here's some of the things that you can do. And so really, we are in every state in the US. So you would be hard pressed to not find a Ronald McDonald House near you and something you can do to get involved.
Tell me what is going on in Chicago. We're recording right now in September. This will be coming out in the fall. Tell us what's coming up for Ronald McDonald House in Chicago and Indiana.
We have a brand modernization happening that's really exciting, which means that we will have a bit of a new look and feel to our brand and our logo in particular, but kind of visibly who we are. It's we are 48 years young. And as a global organization, we are just over 50 years old. And so this is really a very large transformation worldwide about how we communicate who we are and what we do. Because as we talked a little earlier, Jessica, is that sometimes people don't know what we do. And so how can we use our brand modernization to bring more visibility to that, to really help people understand who we are and what we do? And so you'll see some really fun new logo situations. You'll see some great storytelling that tells us a lot more, tells the broader audience and the community about who we are and what we do. And we think it's going to have deep impact, quite frankly, on raising awareness, not only in the US, but around the world. And so that is really exciting for us as that rolls out. So there is one little piece that, since I know we're taping early, but in November will already be out. We have a slight name change so that you know who we are. So we will go from being Ronald McDonald House Charities to Ronald McDonald House. So we're dropping the charities part of our name. Ronald McDonald House is is usually how people really recognize and know who we are. So we will become Ronald McDonald House, Chicagoland, and Northwest Indiana. So people can still find us, even though that's happening. We've got the wayfinding for all the digital channels and things like that you won't lose us. But that's probably one of the biggest changes for us. And with a tagline around family stays, and that is
That's
family
amazing.
stays together, family comes together, whether that your family is extended family, neighbors, colleagues, friends. But, as far as, families stay and they're there to support one another. And so you will have seen, your viewers may have already seen some of that by the time
Yeah.
this airs. So kind of a
That's
big
amazing.
deal.
Yeah, that's
It's a big
huge.
change, and it's been a long, long time that we've kind of had a refresh like that. So we're excited
Yeah.
about it. I would also, if I can take a moment too, just to remind everybody, when we think about, I went back in early in that beginning, that forever founding mission partner of McDonald's, and just being so grateful to the owner operators in the Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana area, and quite frankly, all over the world that are helping us to steward and elevate brand and mission. And that's really a unique alignment for us as a charity in partnership with McDonald's. And I always say to people now, you should know that McDonald's doesn't fully fund us. And so it is about, having the brand, as part of our visibility, and really helping accelerate our abilities to raise more resources. But our Forever Founding Mission Partner really does contribute a lot when it comes to the customer activation and local owner operators themselves. So Roundup for RMHC in particular, I want everybody to know that if in any market that you're in and you are rounding up for Ronald McDonald House, you are dropping change in the box, 100% of that goes to support Ronald McDonald Houses and families around the world. So I want people to know that, because I think there's some myth busters about where that money
Yeah,
goes. And so
absolutely.
in Chicagoland in 2025, in Roundup alone in our region, we should hit almost $4 million.
My
So
gosh.
incredible giving,
Wow.
43 cents at a time, 10 cents at a time. And so I always tell people, if you go to McDonald's and they forget to ask, you can still ask to round up, when you are at the pay counter, and they will do that for you. And so that goes a long ways to
Yes.
support families, nickels and dimes, So
Yeah. And it goes right back to your community too.
It does. It does. And what a great asset to have at a McDonald's restaurant. Now, I go every day. I have a Diet Coke every day. So I round up every day. And I know there's a lot of people like me that go for their coffee every day,
Yeah.
and their breakfast,
Yeah.
or their, snack wraps right now. But so I encourage people to really give back if you're a
Yeah.
McDonald's customer.
What other ways can people donate?
Yeah, well, certainly tangible ways we have a year in giving campaign coming, so you'll see lots of marketing efforts for us, ways to give online. Go to ronaldhousechicago.org. You can also, again, on our website, besides cash and money, and we need money, we'll raise about $16 million a year to fund our mission. And that comes through
That's
individuals,
amazing.
corporations,
Yep.
foundations, all of those things. So we need money, and we also need stuff. And so I always say both are important. So again, if you go to our website, ronaldhousechicago.org, you'll see our wish lists, and you will see basic things on those wish lists: light bulbs, toilet paper, trash bags, blankets, so however you are interested in engaging how you want to give, there are multiple ways. I will also say, you've probably seen, we've got the Pop Tab program. Have you seen that before? Like,
Yep.
kids in schools and families collect Pop Tabs. First of all, they're a really good form of outreach. So when people bring their Pop Tabs in, they actually get to see a Ronald McDonald House. They get to understand what we do. And then we take all those Pop Tabs to our recycling partner, United Scrap Metal, and they recycle that for us. It turns it into cash. They make a donation on top of that. So it does generate money even at the level of collecting tabs. So
That's awesome.
there are just so many ways. Host a special event at have a gathering at your house. Do a fundraiser at your school. You have a birthday and you don't want people to give you gifts. You can say, in lieu of gifts, make a donation in my honor to Ronald McDonald House of Chicago. So I could go on and on about the ways to give. But I think that there's something for everybody to give and support a family staying at a Ronald McDonald House, which on average for us is about $95 a night to cover the cost of one family for one night. And that
Wow.
is a lot less than a hotel room, a very expensive hotel room in the city. And the transportation, you might have to drive back and forth if you live in the
Yeah.
western suburbs and need to be downtown. The gas on that alone, these days can
Yeah.
really add
Yeah.
up. So it's a real tangible number. So think about how many nights of a family that you want to sponsor.
Do you guys have any events coming up this fall that you want to do a quick plug for?
We do have that. We have a community event, a recycling event happening at United Scrap Metal the weekend of the 17th. And then actually, as far as major events, November, December, as far as that's probably kind of winding down. And then we'll kick up
Yeah.
into a new year. We'll have our gala and our golf tournaments and a few other events that people really will see posted on our website or out in the community if you'd like to get involved or come be a part of that. That's also a way to bring people together and celebrate what we do.
Awesome.
And raise money at the
Awesome.
same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, is there
Yeah.
anything else about Ronald McDonald House and how people can support that you would like to mention?
I mean, I just really want to thank you for sharing your story today with not only myself, but also folks that'll watch your podcast, because I think that it is the stories of families like you that really help people raise awareness about what it is we do and why. And it could be anybody, anytime that needs us. And I also really want viewers to know, to your point, we exist, in 62 countries around the world. And so if you know somebody that is experiencing childhood illness and they're finding themselves, in a hospitalized situation, or need to, go somewhere for treatment over the long haul over years, make sure you ask about a Ronald McDonald House. And I'm sure the hospital staff will help you get there if you're not offered it. I just want people to know that we're here for them. We're here to support the families on these journeys, and we could not do it without people like you, Jessica, helping to amplify your story and the mission about what we do and really opening up this audience of viewers to learn more and get involved. So I'm grateful to have spent the time with you today, and anything else I can do to kind of connect the dots for people, I'm happy to do.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. This has been incredible. Like I said, I was so excited to connect with your team and have you on the podcast just to share about what you guys do and how people can support. Thank you so much. This is amazing.
All right. We appreciate it. I appreciate it.
That's it for today's episode of the Mama Making Podcast. If this conversation resonated with you, share it with a friend, leave a review, or follow us on social media. We love hearing what's landing for you. And most importantly, keep making your way through. You're never in this alone. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time.